Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for spending your afternoon with us today rather than outside in the sunshine. I'd like to welcome Dr. Mulibir Rai today, who is a Gurkha veteran and an academic, and he's here to share his experience and his analysis from his PhD research. Mulibir is a collaborator and a consultant to a project that we're conducting at KCMHR looking at the welfare of Fijian and Gurkha veterans. We're delighted to have him here and to share his expertise with us today. So I'm just going to hand over to you, Mulibir. You can introduce yourself.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Very calm. Good afternoon, everyone. First of all, I really would like to extend my gratitude to Dr. Laura Palmer and obviously Professor Edgar behind for giving me this brilliant, wonderful opportunity. In the next 35-40 minutes, we will embark on a short tour through the world of Gurkhas. I try my best to keep things engaging. I hope you wouldn't fall asleep. If you do, please, by all means, feel free to do so. This is a warm and very cozy room, so I won't be surprised. And above all, the way I present you, and not very, you will be underwhelmed anyway. Let's get things started with a bit about myself. My name is Mulibir Rai. I joined in the British Army in 1993, and I served in Hong Kong from 1993 to 1997. After 9 months training, basic infantry training in Hong Kong, I joined in the Gurkha Engineers, and after handing over Hong Kong to China, we moved to the UK in 1997. After that, I served pretty much with all Gurkha regiment across the UK and in Brunei. So that's my brief introduction. By all means, we can, if you want to know more about me, by all means, we can discuss after the session. So this talk, I have broken this talk into three sections. The first will be history. Of course, obviously, we will be talking about recruitment, and secondly, service. Then the outcome, what the outcome, consequence of the service. Those three areas we will be talking about. Before really delving into the talk, I would like to seize this opportunity to talk about a bit about my country. By the way, how many of you know Gurkhas have come from Nepal? Are citizens of Nepal? Brilliant, thank you very much. I've been in the previous few sessions. People didn't know Gurkhas. They heard about Gurkhas, but they didn't know they have come from Nepal. So brilliant. So Nepal, a very small country, you see, it's sandwiched between two gigantic countries, China in the north and India in the south. Nepal, let's refrain from discussing its economy because it's considered to be one of the top. I mean, from the bottom. However, the nature had bestowed upon us abundance. We've got light of the Himalayas. Lord Buddha, he was born in Nepal. Sometimes India tends to claim that Buddha was born in Nepal. In India, but that's not true. We've got 8 highest mountain in the world, including Mount Everest. For bird enthusiasts, we've got 846 different species of bird. That is 8% of the total bird species. And in terms of culture, we've got diverse culture and cultural heritage, and those 4 things we proudly showcase to the world. Let's delve into the history of Gurkhas and Anglo-Nepalese relations. Not until the British and Gurkhas had fought the battle in 1814 did the British realize that the soldiers, about half of their size, are formidable all the same. The battle pitted modern weapons against traditional survival tool like kukris and spears. The victory for the modern weapons for the British was apparent, but the losses that British suffered was unimaginable. 2 generals died in the war. You might have a bit confused where this war comes from. If we go back to the region of the war, it might take a long time. So for now, let's remember the British and Gurkhas fought in 1814, and then the relationship built up since then. There are lots of anecdotes about the Gurkha Anglo-Nepalese War. One of them, very repeatedly, frequently cited, one of the war memoirs, is this: "The enemy maintained their ground and fought manfully. I had run away, for you have no credit for beating them." This particular phrase I have highlighted because we will talk about British superiority complex, I would say, a bit later. I never saw more steadiness or bravery exhibited by any set of men in my life. Run away they would not. Of death they seemed to have no fear, though their comrades were falling thick around them, for we were so near that every shot told. So that's the very frequently repeated war memoir. This memoir is by John Shipp, one of the war veterans. He's a poet as well. So this is very famous war memoir excerpts. So in the same battle, a young lieutenant, then Lieutenant Frederick Young. So I must say, 2 generals died in this war, including the General Gillespie. He was very renowned for his fearlessness and command. He has commanded several wars before, so he died in this war. So that's very key. And Lieutenant Young, Frederick Young, he was captured by the Gurkhali armies, and they asked, "Why didn't you run away with along with your friends?" And Lieutenant Young, Frederick Young, with his fearless, he was Irish eyes, said, "I didn't come so far to run away." And Gurkhali armies immediately there and then said, "Sir, we are happy to serve under you." So this is the very peculiar, very strange, phenomena, that seldom happens in the battle zone. Obviously, East India Company, the British won the war. After winning the war, Lieutenant Frederick Young was released. After his release, he was treated, when the Gurkhas captured him, he was treated like a boss rather than a prisoner of war. So he was so impressed with Gurkhas. He from the bottom of his heart, he wished to command those Gurkhali soldiers. Immediately, the British won the war. Lieutenant Young put this proposal forward to, form a company. By then, he was promoted to major, so he could command a company. He formed a company, but the Gurkhalis were not a legitimate soldier under British East India Company. So after 1 year, that was in 1816, November 9th, 1816, a treaty was signed between British and Nepal. Obviously, treaty was signed because British won the war, so Nepal and East India Company signed the treaty under 2 conditions. One, Nepal had to Nepal must release his men, its men, to East India Company for recruiting. Second, Nepal ceded, almost twice the size of its present Nepal. You can see, how big Nepal was before, and this is current Nepal. Very tiny bit. The East India Company, the British left for us, taking a big chunk of the big chunk of land, with them. So this is the consequence of the war. The problem. Yes, they took the recruits, they took the men from Nepal, but the problem was trust. After all, they are foreign soldiers. If they employ, if they deploy, to fight with enemy, nobody knows which side they're taking to. So there was time to make sure that they are loyal. So in 1817, they deployed East India Company. The British deployed Gurkhas to a battle called Pandhari War. In Pandhari War, there was a small portion of Gurkhas were deployed. They performed brilliantly, but the real test was yet to come. That was 1857 when Indian mutiny happened. The mutiny happened due to various reasons. One of the reasons was the newly introduced, Enfield rifle. Before that, there was 202. Enfield rifle they introduced. In the rifle, the rifle used had lard, animal fat, and that offended both Muslims and Hindu soldiers. This disgruntled, this grievances, triggered the widespread discontentment among the Indian soldiers, and ultimately it formed all-out rebellion against against British rule in India. So Gurkhas, there is a test. Gurkhas were deployed to defend Hindu Rao's house. That Hindu Rao's was one of the king's house in India. Basically, the British, took the British had all kings of princely states, the statesmen, the rulers. All British had their own in their hand, but the mutineers, they attacked Hindu Rao's house, and the Gurkhas were deployed for a mission to defend Hindu Rao's house. 490 Gurkhas deployed there, and 327 died. That means almost 2/3 of Gurkhas died in the course of defending Hindu Rao's house. However, they defended successfully. As a result, Gurkhali armies were bestowed a Queen's Truncheon. Queen Victoria II bestowed Queen's Truncheon upon Gurkhas in recognition of their loyalty to the British. Now, another stage comes. What stage comes is, yes, Gurkhas armies recruited, yes, loyalty test done. The next thing is, after the mutiny, the colonials, the British administration contemplate which sort of men are loyal. So they decipher, they examined which particular background, cultural background, and particular breed, particular groups of people are more loyal than the other group. So they identified in India Muslims and Hindu Sikhs. Hindu but Sikhs, they are loyal, and Gurkhas. In terms of Gurkhas, they didn't grab all the Gurkhas. They grab only four cultural backgrounds of Gurkhas. These are indigenous groups of Gurkhas: Rai, Amrai, Limbu, Gurung, and Mogar. Those four groups of people were selected by the British administration, and they called it martial race. the term martial race, probably the Professor Edgar and Dr. already know, martial race didn't exist before 1857. This term came into existence after Indian Mutiny to describe a particular group of people as brave and loyal. Basically, what it is a relationship between the colonial power and military labor. That's what it is, martial race. And in martial race, these four groups. Why these four groups and not Brahmins and Kshatriyas? Why not them? There are two reasons. One, Brahmin and Kshatriyas are not indigenous group from Nepal, and second, they were strictly adhered to their cultural, rituals, religious rituals. When they get ready for the war, they took time, an hour to wash their, thread. They carried out rituals. They took a long time for that, but these groups, they didn't have any special dietary. They didn't have any rituals. They are gone and run and gone type of soldiers. So they were chosen for the military labor. So another reason is Brahmin Kshatriyas were educated individuals considered threat to the authority then. They chose, they chose not to, enlist those groups of people. So let's move on to a little bit of academic and philosophical spice in this presentation. Why these martial groups are chosen? Yes, they are loyal. We have all agreed, at least for now. Why they are loyal? So here is the reason. To examine, I had no other way. Probably if you delve deep into it, you may find another way. But there is only one recourse I had is to draw the concept of Orientalism and Solution. At first sight, Orientalism basically what it is academic culture of depicting East, mostly specifically Asia, Middle East, and North Africa, in stereotypical way, often in condescending manner. I hope this makes sense. It constructs, it builds the relation between the don't take relation as as a plus. I would say it's a negative way. The relation between the civilized East and exotic West. Civilized West and exotic East. In two words, to define Orientalism is other and opposite. Let's take that way. Other and opposite. That's exactly what happened in Anglo-Nepalese War. In one hand, the British officers say, I hate runaway war. They don't want to. They don't want to fight with enemies who run away. I would have enjoyed it. They don't want to fight. They want brave person to fight. That's a kind of extremity of a superiority complex, I would say. And in the other hand, again, extremity of inferiority. The enemy comes in front of their officer and says, "Sir, we are happy to serve under you." Well, he is after a prisoner of war. Why would they say to a prisoner of war, "We are happy to serve under you"? So that's a paradoxical situation phenomena that occurred in Anglo-Nepalese War. Of course, that this that's this paradox carried on until now. Nowadays, if we've got time, we can explore further on into it. That's the reason I've drawn that Edward Said's Orientalism into this context. Likewise, Gramsci's subaltern theory is basically Gramsci's subaltern theory is one of the 25th section of prison note. There are volumes of prison notes, and one of them is subaltern. Basically, he applied this subaltern concept of subaltern to uncover histories of the isolated, forgotten subjects like peasants, and workers, and in Italy. Later on, the term subaltern was widely used, particularly from Indian Subaltern Studies group, namely, Gayatri Spivak, C. Her Can Subaltern Speak is a groundbreaking essay. She suggests that she applied the term subaltern to lower caste untouchables or even women's. She particularly focuses on women. That's why she says subaltern can't speak. But I have taken this notion further and applied to Gurkhas, and I argue that yes, Gurkhas are subaltern and they can speak, but they are not heard. They not because their voice is too feeble, too weak, too small, but because they are ignored. They are isolated. They are a minority group. That's the reason I've taken this further. When I say subaltern, I must bring the hegemony as well, cultural hegemony and politics hegemony. Otherwise, it will be incomplete. When we say hegemony, it may take another good hour to discuss. It is a wide range of hegemony study, but this is a small portion of hegemony. I would say is a political and cultural hegemony that Gurkhas suffered not only from British, but from within their country. Ranas, until the mid 20th century, the Ranas dogmatic rule there was a dogmatic rule in Nepal. There was a reciprocal understanding between the British and Ranas. The British needed a military labor because Great Wars were on horizon, and the Ranas needed money, and they needed the assurance from the British for their sovereignty. Please don't kill us, So that they needed that assurance. For that, the Ranas agreed. Whatever basically they surrendered to East India Company, but that wasn't for free. British in return bestowed Ranas lots of money, lots of decoration, knighthoods. Probably this Chandra Samsad Rana, as you can see, CBC, CG, SIC, MC, whatever. He is probably the most decorated prime minister in the entire British history. Not even the native prime minister had those all sort of whatever titles are there. Take it. They simply British simply threw those decorations to Ranas, and they were very happy. And Ranas they not only allow British to recruit their men, but they themselves involved. They help recruit their men, and they coerced, go there, and they incentivized. If you go there, you can get this and this. So I'll show you a small video that this is a 1 minute clip from my documentary that I submitted with my thesis to Kingston as part of my dissertation.
Until the late 60s, candidates would not require any credentials to join the British Army at all. Especially during World War I and II, the Gulliwalas, British Army in forces, recruited as many hillboys as possible for the war effort. Some were taken away while working on the land or tending cattle.
गल्लाले लाँदा कहाँ हुनुहुन्थ्यो तपाईँ?
गल्लाले लाउँदाखेरि म जात्राबाट गएको हाम्रै गाउँको जात्रा थियो त्यो बेलामा अनि जात्रामा मलाई त्यो बेला लोकले छिटो च्याप्पा समातेर किन समातेर हजुर मलाई तपाईँ जाहिर खान्छ भन्ने कहाँको जाहिर हो र भन्ने उसमा ब्रिटिस इन्डियामा जाने लडाइँमा गोली लगाएर मरिहाल्छ मरेँ भन्ने त्यहाँ गयौँ अब जानु त्यहाँबाट अनि डेढन भन्ने छाउनीमा लगेर केही महिना राख्यो त्यहाँबाट त्यहाँ बाँडफाँड भएर अनि बर्मापट्टि पठायो.
Now you can imagine that how they were recruited, basically picking from everywhere. So what that means is during the Great War in the villages of Nepal there were no men. Only the villages were left with elderly individuals, women, and children. So if any new person turns up in the village and he might probably been a messenger to deliver bad news. So that was the situation. So in the Great War, yes, Gurkhas are now fit and fine. They are all stand as a Gurkhali, trusted, fully trusted, integrated. Now they have deployed all the all over Europe, Asia, and Africa, wherever Great Wars took place. There is no place that Gurkhas didn't take part. So in the Great Wars, Gurkhas were there were 250,000 Gurkhas were recruited, and 40,000 Gurkhas died in the Great Wars. Thousands got injured, sustained long-term injury. Hundreds they went missing. They were unaccounted for. Some families still haven't carried out their final rituals because they believe that their family members are somewhere in Burma and somewhere in Africa, and they are not expecting them to come back, but at least they are apprehensive. They are cautious to perform their final rituals. So that's the situation. The Gurkhas won 13 Victoria Cross out of 26. They are brave. They are loyal. Everything that's done. Now the time came, and one thing I wanted to mention is yes, the British loyalty test all done. They served in the Great Wars. They did well. They hundreds of bravery medals, thousands of bravery medals, and one of the famous eulogy is his 4-line stanza by Professor Rafter. He was in fact one of the commander in Second World War. He commanded Gurkhas in the Second World War. Have you seen Gurkha station in London, Whitehall? So that probably even you might have seen, you might not have noticed there's a Gurkha statue. In the pedestal, it's encrypted with bravest of the brave, most generous of the generous, never had a country more faithful friends than you, as a Professor Seraf Dana. wrote this. So all happened, all done. Gurkhas, Vailazas, you're great, you're loyal, you're everything. Now came to the point. After the Second World War, 2 years after the Second World War, Indian independence happened in 1947. British took 4 out of 10. British took 4 regiments to Malaysia, and leaving 6 regiments to India. In Malaysia, they set up a camp. Later on, they relocated to Hong Kong. When Indian independence happened, there was a agreement, the tripartite agreement between Nepal, India, and Great Britain. In the tripartite agreement, there are many points, mainly 3 points upon which the British didn't comply with. That is integral part of the British Army. In contrast, the British declined to acknowledge the Gurkha service in Southeast Asia, Hong Kong. For example, if I may, my own example is I served in Hong Kong from 1993 to 1997, 4 years. After 1997, I came to UK. But for 4 years, my service counts only 38%. That means my service counts only 1 year and 13 months. My pension is only 1 year and 13 months equivalent pension, because I served in Hong Kong, not in Great Britain. So obviously the Gurkhas were sent after. One thing I missed. After Second World War, Gurkhas were sent home without any pension. They said goodbye, now job done, you can go home. So Gurkhas went. Gurkhas kept quiet, you see, until until it was enough, basically. Another agreement, the British breached is not to treat as mercenary. Pay and pension, that old disparity. The Gurkhas received only 6% of of their British counterparts. Those were the pay condition. In terms of accommodation, let me put a small example is when I lived in Hong Kong, there were 2 big building blocks. In the British, another building, the British lived. The British had lived in next building. We lived in a building literally had no facilities at all. The British had air conditioned, bars, everything in the evening, dung dung dung, all music, everything, all facility. But we next door we didn't have. Even if that was, the Gurkhas didn't even complain, no whinging, no money whatsoever. It didn't occur even in our mind. It didn't occur. Let's in terms of welfare, there was completely separate terms and conditions for Gurkhas. We had BGS, Brigade Gurkha Standing Order. That is pretty much, it's a shackle. It's a rope to tie Gurkhas up. So that was the rule. When my mother died in 1994, I didn't get to go to Nepal because I had 2 brothers. But if the British soldiers lost their parents, they would have flown to UK regardless of their siblings. So that was the situation. Now the time came. Rather than explaining to you verbally, I would play 1 minute, another minute video that's also an exception from my PhD documentary submitted to Kingston.
Over time, the Gurkhas' situation changed. They began to migrate to the cities, looking for better lives and better education for their children. Subsequently, they struggled to cope with the pension they would get against rising living costs in cities. Therefore, they began to pursue jobs abroad. With the experience they gained in the British Army, they could sell themselves to many countries in the world except for the United Kingdom, the only country they knew after their own.
They tried to come to the UK, sometimes even using their false British Army ID card. At other times, throwing themselves into containers coming from Germany and France, risking their lives. Some Gurkhas chose not to enter the UK via the back door. Rather, they chose to pursue the legal route to ensure the UK government opened the front door to Gurkhas. As a result, the Gurkha Army Ex-Servicemen Organization (GESO) was formed under the chairmanship of Mr. Padam Bahadur Gurung in 1990. So, this was the stage. They were literally suffocated. They didn't have any way, any gates open, any door open. They served. They did everything. They venerated the British. After all, bye bye, goodbye. You're not allowed to come here. That really hurt. And Gurkhas came to UK, some legitimately legal way, some illegal way, like I said, in the container, and there were a significant number, gathered in the UK. They started to speak up. Meanwhile, the GESO, the ex-services, Gurkhas Ex-Servicemen Association in Nepal, they also keep pressing to the British Embassy in Nepal and the Nepalese in the UK. They voiced together, and only then the British people started listening to the Gurkhas. And Peter Carroll, one of the leading campaigner, he campaigned, basically rallied the British people behind the cause, British actress Joanna Lumley, particularly Joanna Lumley, and Liberal Democrats leader Nick Clegg, they lined up and pressed on. Thousands of emails, petitions, campaign, went, say viral. That time. So in 2009, Labour government, Gordon Brown, announced the new, revised, revised immigration policy for the Gurkhas, and also terms and conditions for the Gurkhas, according to which the Gurkhas were given equal pension, equal pay, equal everything, including they were allowed to come to the UK. Their families were allowed to come to the UK after 4 years service in the British Army. But the veterans who served in Hong Kong or East Asia, like myself, those who were enlisted July 1990, on or after July 1997, they were allowed to settle in the UK before. They were allowed equal pension before that date. Who enlisted, they were not given equal pension. Some are still given welfare pension. Some are given a small portion of pension. So the Gurkhas, those veterans, are still fighting for. So that's the outcome of Gurkha Justice Campaign. So let's summarize the whole talk. We've got 38 minutes, I think, so it's a good time to summarize. Let me read out the summary rather than waffle. 2 centuries ago, the British and Gurkha armies clashed in conflict, leading to an unexpected and enduring relationship. This fusion was a paradoxical blend between soldiers embodying Western imperial superiority complex and subaltern Oriental soldiers characterized as simple yet fiercely loyal individuals who dispassionately discharged the order above and beyond the question of right and wrong, which Foucault defines as a disciplined soldier who nearly 2 centuries Gurkhas remained disciplined soldier, fighting battles in the service of imperial interests without questioning their officers. However, a turning point eventually arrived. They found their voice were listened to and subsequently witnessed changes. Today, new generations of Gurkhas benefit from benefit from revised British policies, including enhanced promotion prospect. 6 Gurkhas have achieved the rank of Lieutenant Colonel in the British Army, a feat previously deemed impossible. This monumental journey signifies a transformation from loyalty to leadership among the Gurkhas.
Thank you so much, Munabir. Does anyone have any comments, reflections, or questions they'd like to ask? We've got some time, and we can kind of just mill around, I think, and have some tea and scones.